Thank you to Source of all that is, was, and will ever be, the great architect, the OG, the one and only creator, for the courage and strength necessary for us to face all the challenges that are before us as they wrap us in their omni-love, protected from harsh, negative energies most of the time, with much gratitude and appreciation to the OG Creator. So it is, so it is, so it is, and thank you, thank you, thank you. Grand rising, grand afternoon, grand evening, grand rest, wherever you are, beloveds, whenever you tune in. Yes, as you can see, we're going back into this lovely stack of flashcards we have here before us to see what else may unfold from the Rose Oracle. Let's check in, shall we? For a little more, keeping the oral traditions alive with a little bit of storytelling. Three shuffles. Simple, simple, simple. Three knocks. And let's just see what it shall be we are meant to hear and see at this time. Ooh. You may want to be sitting for this one. As a matter of fact, we're going to lose a little bit of the prettiness as we do a little zooming in for a moment. You won't see much of the background, but just wow. Let's do it. The rapture, sensuality, devotion, romance, ecstasy, and pleasure. Disclaimer alert, this is 18 plus, preferably 21 and older. Viewer discretion is advised. We are all adults here, and we will keep it that way. So we can also be spiritually and emotionally mature about what it is here that we see. I'm not going to zoom in any further on the image. Just for a bit of modesty, so to speak. The rapture. Let's see what the book has to say. I'm not so sure I have seen this card more than once or twice. I see. The transmission for this card is: my sensuality is sacred and holy. Other people's sensuality is sacred and holy. I open myself up to express and receive love in a way that feels safe and good for me. Or excuse me, I open myself up to express and receive love in a way that feels safe and good to me. I release painful programming and experiences and return to love. Ooh, talk about the timing. That one. Divine timing. Divine timing. Yes. So, rose became another word for eros and is also become the symbol for love, beauty, and passion. Many patriarchal religions placed a shameful cloak around sensuality, and a few other words I will not mention. Rapture and of course sexuality. One of the most natural, pleasurable parts of life has become conditional and judged. The rose wants us to heal from this and to remember that pleasure and a few other chosen words and expression of desire can be some of the most sacred, miraculous things about being a human on earth. This card comes with a message about receiving and giving love and pleasure. Flora wants you to know that your sensuality, your passion, and your sexuality, no matter how you identify, are sacred and holy. She wants you to connect with your sensual true nature and to celebrate this in all people. Interesting. Historically, roses have been a symbol of secret knowledge and confidentiality. The ancient Romans wore garlands of rose petals on special occasions. When these were hung above the important meeting places, the conversation that took place beneath them were considered sub rosa, literally meaning under the rose. It was understood that anything said under the rose would be kept secret and not repeated. Okay, I will not be giving any reverence whatsoever to surrogate gods, self-perpetuated, self-named, self-ordained surrogate gods. So we will figure out other ways to continue to tell the story of the rose and even of our own unfolding beloveds. Being very careful of, well, I'm careful of my spoken word because I know how powerful it is. Yes, that part. So interesting. There's so much more. So in this instance, what's happening here is a form of rapture. where I'm unfolding repetitively different essences and sustenance pertaining to the rose. So, the rose even has a place in the Garden of Eden. You know, that place we never actually left. Yes. So what I find interesting as I'm reading along here is that the rose is even seen as an intersection point between spirit and the earthly construct. Or is the spirit and earthly construct combined? It's like the soul has been planted here to rapture over and over and over and over again. And not according to that fear-mongering, manipulative, intentional sub-programming and false teachings, false creeds, intended to keep us at a very low state so that we end up working alongside those low-level spirits way more than we bargained for. And as we're waking up from all that, and I do not claim to be part of any kind of woke culture, so don't even. Assumptions will get you nowhere, especially with me. But interestingly enough, there is this story that is actually meant to be rewritten, because the original interpretations of the first women, the first also females, but also like the possibility of being androgynous, being neither, also comes into play. Like, I'm pretty confident that the OG creator didn't have any kind of swinging parts, whether it was above or below the belt. So, and I can say that because it's no longer Sub Rosa. And part of acceptance is accepting that we don't really need to identify by anything. We can just be and continue to be in the flow and naturally unfold. Naturally unfold. And remember what not to do from the Zeta unenlightened. And I have found that even in some organized cultures, there are similarities. And interestingly enough, they're like seemingly meticulously placed all across this planet. although the locations themselves are quite random. The spreading of the seeds was most certainly intentional, so that our soul seeds could be planted and continuously unfold and rapture, much like the rose. Carefully planted, carefully planted. In fertile soil. We're being called to remember and realize that we are all sacred and holy, that our souls have always been immortal, and that we were never cast out of the garden in the first place. For we are nature from soul to bone, spirit to toes. The severing of separation from the earth, from seeing ourselves as nature, from seeing the feminine with each one of us, or within each one of us, as sacred and holy, is where the work of the sacred feminine begins. In some cultures, the rose symbolizes perfection and deep union with God. The thorns representing the difficulties we can face, and the fact that the rose continues to bloom, holding the teachings of being reborn while still living. This lesson is found in other mystical traditions as well. The rose has been used intimately in poetry, in devotion to the beloved within. Much like I dedicated a song that I thought I would hate because of how my ego responds to the artist, but I still ended up sharing and posting the song Halo by Beyonce. Because when you interpret it a little bit differently and you dedicate it to Source and your own A-team, suddenly it seems a lot less like you're being subservient to man, surrogate gods. Well, I mean hybrid men that don't even know that they're hybrid men. You know, because ignorance is a thing, but it's being resolved in 2025, thankfully. Nevertheless, we're all rapturing beloveds. We are. There's this common seed, shall I say, in all of these traditions and teachings. And that's where our focus lies. That's where our focus remains. And I'm going to tell you why. The magic happens when we focus on seeds within. Nurture them. And also nurture that beauty in others. To choose to be the fool, and by fool I do not mean idiot, But to choose to have a beginner's mind, beloveds, is where the white rose comes in and represents purity, but also an unfolding wisdom, according to the magician, the Maharahi, Maharahi, Maharahi. Welcome, Mahi Mahi, to this round table. Yes, this is my own paradiso, and it is oh so delicioso. Yes, also representing another example of the Fibonacci, the golden ratio on which it is based. The sequence in which each number is the sum of the preceding two numbers and can be found in all life. The petals of a rose hold this sacred ratio, with each new set of petals growing in the spaces of the previous set. Perhaps this is why we feel changed by gazing into the spiral of a rose. In this time when ancient secrets appear to be being unearthed and when the mysteries are being proven by science, it seems that the significance of the rose throughout history is only just beginning to unfold before us. Her secrets seem to be hidden in plain sight. As the rose becomes more and more popular and is embraced by the hearts of humanity, we're beginning to see beyond the long-stemmed red rose grown in a hothouse as a commercial declaration of love on Valentine's Day, and into the mystical, healing, sacred, feminine, hidden world of all that she holds and all that can be held and has been a symbol of since times ancient. What is the rose calling forth within you? And know that the rose came before you. Yesterday, out came held, unseen help, but sureness of the soil. As I said, fertile soil, beloveds. Let's do a split. Ooh. Ooh. So, not required to show everything that I see, especially at this time and from this angle, because of some of the suggestive or possibly suggestive imagery. So we're going to do a shuffle first, and then we're going to do a split. Something significant about the rain. And April showers bringing May flowers. That is definitely going to be significant for some of us. But I mean, that silver lining that can be found with acceptance. And now I'm hearing that song, Kiss the Rain, which I actually performed live and had a standing ovation. And then I decided I was going to go out in the rain, and it was messing up my equipment, my microphone, my headset. So I was like, by the time I made it back in the door, I was drenched, and everybody was like, okay, we're so done with this. So anyways, Kiss the Rain. Whenever you need me. Oh, 10 out, or actually, we're going to back up that 10 to a 0 and say 0 out of 10. Do not recommend trying to sing when you're getting over being under the weather. We'll just put it that way. And can barely breathe through your nose. And if you do so in the shower with some eucalyptus or something. Disclaimer alert, not a doctor, not a diagnosis, not a prescription, not a prognosis. But the eucalyptus in the shower, I do 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. Alright, let's close this up by reading about After the Rain. As you can see, we also have relief, hope, mercy. It's over, kid. Acceptance. We are in the year of completion, year 9. Let's see some 999s dropped in the comments section whenever you hear this. It's over, kid. It's the year of completion. And I'm ready. Are you ready? I'm so ready. Yeah. Yes. Ready to be our own pet. Ready. Yes. As that silver lining with acceptance is rolling in. Let's read about it. To draw this message to a close. But just know after this, it's never goodbye. Only see you later. After the rain. After the rain. Number 56. Whenever you need me. Okay. What are you ready to release? There's something very special and sacred about the moment after it stops raining. The atmosphere has released all that it was holding, and in turn, the earth has been cleansed, replenished, and nourished, and blessed with that musky fragrance. One of my most favorite smells ever, and I have a keen nose, beloveds. Let me tell you. And it grows more keen as I get older. It's kind of like aging backwards. Oh, the smell of petrichor. How about a little ASMR about how much I love the smell of petrichor. Yes. It's a similar feeling to that moment after we stop crying. As those salty healing waters fall, they activate oxytocin and endorphins, which creates a shift in how we feel. What was once overwhelming now seems possible, and while we may not know it's consciously, noticeable growth will soon follow. After the rain is all about, we're not even going to say hope and healing anymore, because It's like handing an empath a spiritual book. And believe me, I have plenty, and I'm an empath. And these books have numerous bookmarks or substitutes for bookmarks all throughout them. Because when you're already an empath and you can legit feel everything, those books literally just become functional looking decorations, I guess. Like, it's great for us to read them aloud to others. That's kind of the point of being a teacher. Especially for those who like visuals, okay? Like flashcards, for instance. I figured out a way that's more cohesive with me authentically, rather than to just be sitting here reading from a book, right? But teaching, sharing, but also learning as a forever student, embracing that beginner mindset, forever and always, beloveds. There is these times of trials, but they're over. Kiss the rain. Broken hearts are on the mend. Times of trial are over. Mercy can be felt. There's a moment of relief. A new encouraging silver lining can now be made. We're going to start that over again. Yes. If you've been going through a challenging time, this card is here to reassure you that things are about to ease. There's a moment of relief. A new encouraging silver lining can now be made out in the distance. What's been challenging and difficult has or is about to ease up. You've been through the worst of it, and now our time is here. Yes, these past weeks, months, years, decades, eons even. It's time, beloveds. As it hasn't been straightforward, likely asked to dig deep and endure hardships that have tested us, but now at long last there are smooth seas ahead, and what we've learned and how we've grown can never be taken from us. And now it's time to enjoy the warmth of the blessings that life has in store. Glorious new. Free, 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 free. New beginnings are now possible. And that is the message. Thank you so very much, beloved multiversal familia, for listening and tuning in. You are loved. You are appreciated. And even a little bit of junk. Junk meaning just unfolding, not knowing. Brightest blessing.